Vargas for lesson 3 or synchronous lesson. We're doing lesson 2. It's for week number 2 of for TCP. Title Introduction to Assessment, the concepts of assessment, roles, principles of assessment. Once again, this is Dr. Vargas, the faculty in charge for this session. And going to roll out firstly the friendly reminder for you guys. Hindi naman kayo matutulog na. Okay that you can listen to this recording. You can do this naman anytime because this is our asynchronous topic for today. Ayan. It's a friendly reminder and for the learning outcomes. Mas indicator later on kayo before you start your lessons. For any subjects, first thing to be done is of course you have the title of your presentation, but of course the learning outcomes or the learning competencies that to be displayed by your students after a particular lesson. So after this lesson, these are the things that your students or you as my students can be capable of doing. Ano ibig sabihin ng learning outcomes? Mga target natin. Example number 1, after this lesson, at least you will know how to define the assessment concepts such as measurement, evaluation, testing, different types of assessment, the reasons why we have assessments, the roles of assessment for us as educators, as students, mga reasons why we are doing assessment and not only to test, but for example, to monitor progress, improve curriculum, improve instruction, and of course, applying the foundational principles of effective assessment. We should know by the end of the lesson what is validity, reliability, fairness, authenticity, transparency, and usefulness ng assessment. And of course, the last one, after the lesson, you should be able to analyze examples of assessment tools and practices to determine whether they align with sound assessment principles. Yun natin target for the topic. And for the topics, the agenda for this lesson. We have 7 topics at least. Hoping that we can discuss well itong 7 topics na to. Right, and let's start. This one is Howard Gardner, a popular author, a person when it comes to education. This one is board exam. Lahat ng review materials yun sa board exam. You will come to meet Howard Gardner. Actually, ano pa natin? Board exam questions. He theorized kasi the theory of multiple intelligence. Minsan estudyante daw isang learners na hindi pare-parehas, no? They have different types of intelligence. And Gardner enumerated those 8 types of intelligence ng ating mga students. The visual, spatial, kasi dating magaling sa drawing, visualizing, Pag graph ang pinipresent mo, instead of paragraph, they will appreciate more ang graph or pictorial representation. Meron din namang verbal. Yung mga estudyante, they love reading. And instead of staring at photos or pictures, ay magaling sa interpersonal, mga maboka, no? Natawag natin mga outspoken, mga extrovert persons. Meron mga intrapersonal, mga learners natin that in good interpersonal, pero they know how to monitor, they know their selves well. Meron din naman mga magaling sa math. Nasaan na kamay dito, mga they love numbers, they love math. Meron ba dito? Meron mga magaling sa musical. Yung mga estudyante natin, iba-iba yung mga talents, mga intelligence. Magaling din sa bodily kinesthetic. May mga naturalistics din. Yan, ito yun ni Howard Gardner. No? Sabihin yan, hindi lahat will appreciate your presenting paragraph. Sa makita mo sa nila nababoard pag puro paragraph pinapakita mo. No? Pero pag sinamahan mo ng mga photo, pictorial, pag magpapa-activities ka, pag magpapa-exercise ka at the start of your classes, magpapa-games, yan. No? Pansin mo, may mga sa ating gano'n, halo-halo sila. Pero hindi naman lahat ay visual, hindi naman lahat ay linguistic. All of them are interpersonal. Yung magaling sa musical, yung magaling naman sa math. So they have different levels of intelligence, so different levels of assessment. We can't have a one-size-fit-all types of assessment. Maybe yung ating ginagamit na assessment. Kasi pag gumamit ka na example ng reading comprehension paragraph, hindi sa appreciate ng mga visual learners natin, mga magaling sa math. Pag nagpa-exercise ka naman, activity, bodily movement, hindi naman sa ma-appreciate ng mga magaling sa visual and linguistic. So we should have different types of assessing. So walang tamang isang type ng assessment. Walang eksaktong type ng assessment. Dapat iba-iba. In compliance with the Howard Gardner theory. Multiple intelligence. So tanda si Howard Gardner na. Naalala mo sa board exam yan. And after Howard Gardner, that is the background ng ating lesson for today, assessment. And let's jump into start of presentation, introduction to assessment. The purpose is to guide you as future educators. No? Kasi siyempre naman next year, yun na kayo mga educators na kayo next year after taking the board exam. So, at ang ginagawa ko, the lessons that I presenting ay sinasamahan ko ng mga lessons or mga questions that I think will be part of the review for the board exam or part of the board exam itself. Para nag-train kayo in answering multiple choice. Pa dito mga lessons ko, siyempre, matadaanan sa review. Okay, and understanding assessment, setting the stage for effective education. Hindi natin nagtuturo. Teachers are not only teaching, they also monitoring, they plan, they motivate. No? And we cannot plan if we don't know what should be included in the plan. For example, you're planning for your next classes, next sem or next year. Yung mga inputs mo ngayong current sem should be used. in planning for the future, no? Kaya meron tayong mga assessment na ginagawa. By the way, assessment is essential for guiding learning. You should be guiding them by assessing them. Kasi you cannot teach students na alam na pala nila, no? Or we cannot teach those complicated topics to them if we assess na hindi sila masyadong ganun pa complicated mag-analyze or magbasa. Na meron tayong mga diagnostic test na ginagawa to guide them. Assessment is also used for providing feedback. After the exam, example sa university, sa college na, after administering, for example, the midterm exam, the next meeting, wala mo ng klase, no? That is what we call the consultation. That is a time that we give feedback to the students on those items or exams that they did not do well on those exams. So we give them feedback. Saan sila mahina? Kasi if we are preparing exam, if we are giving examination, we are preparing table of specifications. No? We do item analysis. Kung saang items ang pinakamarami na nag-failed na students. That is item analysis na. And we give feedback to students. Bakit mababa yung exam? Tulad last time, yung seminar, no? I have students who approach me, look, bakit mababa yung aking, mga they are senior high school na. Bakit mababa yung aking exam dito? Siyempre, pag objective yung exam, you present to them. Ito, out of 47, na nakuha mo, 5 lang. Or bababa ka sa final exam kasi you did not submit the final requirement. For example, you did not submit the book bind for the research. Kaya mababa yung mga exam nila. No? You should be ready and give. Kasi pag sinabi natin giving grades that is subjective, no? We have academic freedom. You can give the grades that you think is commensurate to the ability of the students. But just be ready to support yung binigay mong grade sa kanya. Kaya mayroon tayong class records na ginagawa. Another purpose of assessment, of course, improving educational outcomes. Pag makita natin naman na sa mga exam mahirap or matagal ma-achieve isang outcome or objectives based on the exam result, so we can revise the outcome of a particular topic or particular program. Another purpose, it helps educators like us to improve the curriculum, and of course improving the curriculum or syllabus will also improve our instruction. And the main goal is for the students. Ang teachers hindi lang nagtuturo. We're not just teaching them, but we are sharing to them or guiding them to achieve the goal. For example, ano bang goal ng isang estudyante? Just to pass, to be high honor, to have the highest honors. Sa high school kasi, with high honor yung binibigay, with highest honor. Tulad dito sa school natin, with highest honors, with high honors ang binibigay. Pag sa tertiary level naman, of course, we have the summa cum laude, the magna cum laude, and the cum laude. For other students, just to pass. Just to learn something. Okay, so I'm moving on. Significance of assessment. It is really significant. Only measuring the student learning, but to guide them, to guide us. So, ang mga assessment, not only for the students, that is also for us. Kasi pag nakita natin hindi lahat ng students ay nakakuha ng mataas na rating. For example, sa test 2, multiple choice, numeration, or sa essay type. No? Sometimes I give 5 types of, if I give exam, I give 5 types of exam. For example, test 1 is multiple choice, test 2, true or false. I have enumeration, I have essay type or subjective type. So sometimes the student, pag sinabi mong essay type, syempre, there should be a specific number of words. For example, if you will tell them like in not less than 100 words to write an essay about a certain topic. Of course, with the opening paragraph, the middle paragraph, and the conclusion. Yung iba isang paragraph na ginagawa, straight. Iba talaga, hindi siya nasagutan. Iba napaka-ikli. So based on that assessment, essay type, you will conclude, no? Hindi that estudyante, they love narration. Not all students, they love language. Not all of them are good in composing. So we can conclude, we can guide, we can plan. Students should, hindi naman lahat, pero sinasabi ko, hindi lahat ng estudyante magaling magsulat. Pero kalahati lang, no? Sa 50 students, yung mga 30, nagsusulat talaga ng maganda. Iba naman, hindi sila sagutan. It's either they are not answering or they're just writing a small paragraph. So you can plan what to do. Next time ba, meron pa bang essay type or totally remove the essay type? For using this one, its impact, the impact of assessment, not only for the grades, but improving the curriculum, the syllabus, strategies natin, baka mamaya maraming mali dun sa isang test 3, for example. So we can improve our study, more discussion. But if we're doing exam, we don't give just one type of exam. We just don't give identification lahat. Identification, hindi masyadong maganda. No? Hindi ko masyadong ginagamit ang identification sa my examinations. Example, identification, tapos 30 items, more identification. Hindi masyadong, that is not healthy. So, dapat iba-iba yung ating way of assessment. Kaya nga, iba ginagamit. I always have multiple choice kasi ang multiple choice, for me, that is the best form of assessment. And for you guys, also training for you for the board exam. Kasi ang board exam, as I said before, purely multiple choice. 150 isang area, 150 isang area, 150 isang area. That is 450 multiple choice. No? Board exam yan, sharing the reason why bakit puro multiple choice. Para objective yung pag-check, no? Walang bias or opinion na mag-check. Siyempre, machine ginagamit nila dyan, no? Yung multiple choice ang nilang binibigay na exam. But in practice, no? Pag may mga professors na or teachers na don't give just one type of exam. Dapat mga 4 na klase yan. Kasi, kita mo dun sa exam, may feedback mechanism assessment, di ba? May mga estudyante sasagot. Board na board kami pag puro daw identification. Kaya dapat, hindi masyadong marami. Pwede magbigay ng identification, pero hindi masyadong marami na 30 items, puro identification. Pwede yan mga example, 15 items multiple choice, 15 items na true or false, 15 items na enumeration, then essay type, dalawang analogy, yan, no? Learning pathways, it helps identify individual learning needs. So, malaman natin yan kung saan sila magaling. May mga students that they love the enumeration. Natutuwa sila pag, yes, pag nakita yung test paper, no? Yes, meron enumeration. Kasi may mga estudyante magaling lang pag-memorize. Kaya they love enumeration. Remembering, no? Mga remembering skills, that is the lowest form of skills, remembering. pag-memorize lang. Kaya pag enumeration magaling. Pero pagdating sa essay, you will know, mahina sila doon. So, alam mo ang kanilang needs, composition, mahina sila doon. At nakita mo rin, maraming mali sa nagkamali sa enumeration. So, you will know what are your needs, mahina sa analytical skills. Yan. So, nagagamit natin yung assessment. And handling, so another reason why we have may significant ang assessment sa education, sa mga teachers, aside from that is a guide for us as educators. Sabi nga na, hindi lang pang-grades yan, di ba? Another reason, motivational tool ang assessment. Kasi effective assessment can enhance student engagement and motivation, di ba? Nalalaman naman sa estudyante kung sila yung magaling na or meron sila natutunan eh. Example, out of 50, isang estudyante naka 47. Kasi nagpa-exam ka. Wala kang pa-exam, wala silang grade na magkukuha, di ba? Siyempre. Kung mayroong exam, you'll give them grades. So, for them, that is motivation. Kaya pag mga prelim examination, pag binibigay ng mga exam, mga madadali lang, para mapang-motivate sa kanila na tumuloy pa rin hanggang midterm, hindi magdadrop. Pag binanatan mo kasi ng difficult exam kaagad ng prelim exam sa una pa lang, no? Prelim term pa lang, bagsak na sila. So, parang walang motivation. Hindi mong hirapan yung mga exam mo pag finals na, no? Okay, another one, accountability. It holds educational institutions accountable for student outcomes. Kaya mga assessment natin, pag tayo nagbibigay ng mga exam, that is based on the syllabus. Talagang sa syllabus natin, mga learning outcomes, paano natin tinetest if a student has gotten the learning outcomes or objectives ng yung subject. How do you know? Of course, nagpapa-exam tayo para ma-testing natin kung talagang, example, may nagalagay sa yung syllabus. To know the mathematical ability of the student when it comes to computing percentage. For example, sa mga accounting subjects. You want to know objectively, no? If the students know how to compute interest rate, an objective, nakalagay sa syllabus. Ibig sabihin, that is the outcome or the target that you want to have for your students after a certain topic. And how do you know? Kapag-exam ka, di ba? Kapag mababa sila doon, di nila nakuha yung exam na yan, yung per na exam na yan, di marami silang mali in computing the percentage. So you will feel accountable. Sabi mo, parang kulang pa yung turo ka. Dapat siguro mas ibang method na aking gagamitin, mas effective method na aking gagamitin. Or you may revise sa syllabus. Or you may revise the learning outcomes. No? So you will change your approach. Pag puro narrative, gamitan mo ng sample na yung talagang experience sila personal. Instead of relying on the book, pinakompute ng interest. Gamitin mo yung mga you think those common daily routines na kanilang ginagawa. Sabi mo, kunwari namalengke ka, gano'n, no? Tapos, yung presyo ng isda, 100 pesos. Tapos yung tindera, binigyan ka ng 5%. Tanag mo, ikaw ba, isang estudyante, ikaw ba namamalengke? Ayan, yes sir. Kunwari, pupunta ka ng palengke. Bili ka ng isda, worth 100 pesos per kilo. Tapos, sabi ng tindera, bibigyan ka niya ng 10% kasi sabi niya, sugi ka niya. Tanong mo, magkano yung babayaran mo? Ganang questions na. Yun talagang they can relate. O kaya yung transportation sa estudyante, no? Sabi ng driver, meron kang 10% discount. Magkano babayaran mo? Kasi if the students will not get the topic kung mababa pa rin ka na exam next time, you will feel accountable. Parang kulang pa yung turo mo. And of course, another reason why you have assessment to data-driven insights, it promote continuous improvement. Kaya tayo nag-exam, di ba? Para malaman natin kung may babaguhin pa sa syllabus o sa type ng exam na binibigay natin sa mga estudyante natin. O kaya ibang magbago ka siguro ng approach, no, in delivering a lesson. Baka hindi puro pure paragraphing. Samahan mo ng pictorial, mga video, baka mas ma-engage sila kung ginagawang presentation. Pag mas engage, o siguro mas sila ay mas magiginig, mas may focus. Mga target or reasons, yung mga key assessment concepts, mga types of assessment na nating ginagawa. Of course, we gather evidence sa kanila na marami tayong mga pwedeng as in from measuring progress, aside from feedbacking, aside from we should be motivating yung ating mga estudyante. We should also know the different types of assessment. Assessment can be categorized. May mga assessment na binibigay bago mag-umpisa ang klase. Binibigay while the lesson, the class are ongoing, or binibigay after the classes. Ito yung mga formative, summative, diagnostic, exhaustive types, meron sa mga distinct na mga purpose, meron sa pinagagamitan. Example, pag sinabi ng mga diagnostic exam, ito yung mga, if you want to know yung mga current skills nila, current knowledge, current strengths, saan sila malakas, saan sila mahina, o kung mayroong mga gaps ba sa learning na ginagawa. Yan. Mga binigyan natin mga pre-test example is you want to diagnose, no? Give diagnostic yung kanyang mga skills level. Can give, for example, pre-test, initial interview, placement test, no? Yung bang bago mag-umpisa yung lesson, yung school year, ina-assess mo sila yung kanilang level para kung wala kasing diagnostic, baka may nagbigay ng masyadong complicated na lesson, example, sa math o sa English o sa accounting, for example. Kapag ang aking lesson is accounting, tinatanong ko muna sila bago tayo mag-record sa journal, dapat alam niyo muna yung mga basic terminology sa accounting. Tinatanong ko sila. Kasi pag nag-level 2 ka na hindi na masyadong naintindihan yung level 1, piece of time, babalik ka pa dun sa level 1 nila. At tinatanong natin sa mga diagnostic. So, diagnostic also formative. You want to know paano yung kanilang mga levels. So, pag meron tayong diagnostic test, meron tayong mga formative. Formative itong learning progress habang ongoing yung classes. Or doing formative types of examination of exam while going, no? Formative. Habang yung SEM or yung school year nangyayari, papa-exam ka, formative. Meron man tayong tinatawag na mga formative is ongoing. Yung summative naman, that is after. At the end of the learning period, example, at the end of the school year, at the end of the one SEM, or doing the summative types of examination. So, what is the purpose of the summative? If you want to, example, gusto malaman yung kanilang mga final mastery ng kanilang mga learning outcomes, kung mga competencies ba ay na-achieve or learning outcomes ay na-achieve, or doing summative. So, magpapa-final exam ka, presentation or submission projects, portfolio grading, yan, mga types of mga summative. Yung episative naman, if you want to compare yung kanilang natutunan ngayon versus kanilang natutunan last year, that is episative type of examination. That is self-comparison. Diba? Example, nagpa-exam ka nung October, nakuha siya na 75%. Yung pina-exam ulit niya ng November and he got 85. That is episative. You want to know naman ka ng sila nag-grow? Compare, no? In purpose of assessment, I just want to reiterate, no? We don't forget the feedbacking. You want to check the grade performance. Of course, for recording of grades, no? Kahit na yung mga estudyante talagang just for the grades. Mga estudyante grade conscious. Never mind kung may sila natutunan or wala. Kanilang grade mataas. No? Mga nag-aaral matataas sa grade, wala namang natutunan. Absent naman, And of course, siyempre, pag sa university yan, every sem, we edit, we revise the syllabus. Ang syllabus, may laman siyang learning outcomes or objectives ng isang lesson. And i-edit natin yun based on sa result ng examinations, no? Ng mga estudyante natin. Okay, so let's on methods. Pwede natin gawin sa mga estudyante natin. Dito yung paborito nila. Mga estudyanteng they love test Sa tertiary level, example sa PMC, meron dito ang 4 na klase ng test The prelim examination, the midterm exam, the pre-final exam, and the final examination. Structured. Kasi mayroong table of specification yan. Ibig sabihin, ang binibigay mo mga examination dyan is based on sa syllabus na ginagamit mo. At meron dyan mga table of specifications. Kasi structured, Pag sinabing structured, mga skills ng mga estudyante natin, dapat lahat yan ay tinetesting natin. Example, yung remembering skills, application skills, evaluation skills, analytical skills, yan mini-measure natin. Hindi lang remembering Kaya nga hindi lang enumeration ang bibigay natin, kaya nagbibigay na ng essay test. Kasi iba-ibang mas skills sa ating mini-measure sa kanila. Enumeration. Meron din mga application dapat na mga type of examination para lahat ng klase ng skills or knowledge na nagko-cover natin sa ating mga examination. May mga schools naman, 3 lang kanilang exam prelim exam, midterm, and final examination. Now, that is for mga subjects na example, accounting sa mga senior high school. Yan, testing talaga, written test. May mga subjects naman, example, the physical education, performance task. I-measure natin. So, you observe them. Pero pag if you are observing, dapat meron kang checklist or rubrics na tinitingnan while you are observing. Kasi you can't memorize lahat ng mga ginagawang performance sa estudyante, di ba? So, if they are doing the task, checklist ka dapat na real-time ka nag-record. You're checking the rubrics. Ito may mga portfolio man, they love this one, portfolio. Kasi kahit elementary students, high school, zero high school, they love working on portfolio. Kahit sa university students, I also give portfolio types of assessment. Kasi ito yung parang they collect all their activities. Kino-compile nila sa mga activities nila for one sem, for example, or one school year, Kino-compile nila yan. Thesis, presentation, assignment, projects. Yan, that is portfolio. The purpose dito, you are checking, you are teaching them organizational skills, creativity. Siyempre, that is portfolio, no? So, may rubrics ka rin gagamitin dapat dyan. So, different types of assessment, iba-ibang rubrics yung ating ginagamit para sa mga yan. Walang rubrics na para sa lahat eh. Kasi may mga rubrics sa pang essay, mga rubrics sa pang projects. Ayan. Okay na rin, self-assessment, no? Kasi mga students tayo na magaling sa intrapersonal. Learners evaluate their own progress and understanding. Ano lang dito, ang the drawback of this one. Pag hindi honest yung students, no? Pag hindi siya magaling sa kanyang intrapersonal. Magaling sa intrapersonal, pag kasalam mo sa ibang tao, pero assessing themselves, sometimes they are not good. Assessment concepts, validity and reliability. Okay, validity measures what it aims to assess accuracy. Parang simple meaning, yung measure mo ba, ayun ba talaga yung gusto mong malaman na skills ng mga estudyante natin? Yung ba yung measure that is the one being measured? Is it the one that you are supposed to measure? Baka mamaya iba yung tinitesting mo, no? Example, ang learning outcomes reading comprehension. Tapos ang pa-exam mo, enumeration. O reading comprehension na gusto mo measure, hindi mo malalaman. Kasi ang binigay mo ay enumeration. Hindi sa valid. Ang tama, if you want to know your comprehension, ipabasahin mo lang, bigyan mo ng paragraph yan, di ba? Tapos pasasummarize mo yung paragraph. So, na-achieve mo yung target na, no? Reading comprehension. That is valid, no? Number one, pag nagpa-exam example, math test. If a math test examination contains example ng mga reading comprehension questions, that is not valid to measure the mathematical ability ng isang estudyante. Kasi puro paragraph, di ba? Tapos yung malaman kung magaling sa computation, hindi valid yung examination. Ayun, so dapat dapat yung exam mo should measure the intended skills na gusto mong malaman. Example, critical thinking. Yan ang skills na pwede mong gusto mong malaman sa mga estudyante. Once again, hindi pwedeng enumeration. Di ba? But that is validity. Iba naman yung reliability. Pag sinabi reliability, does it ensure results are consistent and can be replicable? Ang isang exam ba, pag pinaulit-ulit mo sa kanya, the same time of exam ba? Minsan nagpa-exam ka, online. Pantay, sinubukan ko ito. Nagpa-exam ako online sa mga estudyante. That is 15 items. Ang dami na 15. Parang 40 students, siguro mga 30 naka-15. Tapos yung natitira, 14. Imagine, parang konti lang. Ang lowest, 14. Ang lowest, isa lang yung mali. Ang pinaulit ko yan sa kanila. At face-to-face na kami, pinaulit ko yan. Inulit na exam. The same question, The same question. Ang pinag-iba lang, face-to-face na yung aking pangalawang exam sa kanila. Same question. Ayun, wala naka-15. Ang highest siguro, 11 lang. May mga bagsak pa nga eh. So, hindi reliable. Pero siyempre, factor din yung sa online siya, malang kopyahan mo nga yan, Pero pag sinabi ng reliability, pag parehong face-to-face, example, pina-exam mo yan, ngayon, face-to-face. Mas pina-exam mo ulit next week, face-to-face din. Yung result, halos parehas lang naman. So, may reliability yung exam. Kasi pag sinabi ng reliability, ang tanong natin yan with the same student, yung same student ma will get the same score pag inulit natin yung exam. If a student scores 85 today is Saturday, tapos pina-exam mo bukas, 40 ang kanya nakuha. From 85, pina-exam mo bukas, 40 ang kanya nakuha, 40 lang kalahati, no? Hindi sa reliable. Same question, ha? Inulit mo lang, ngayon 85, nabukasan 40. Walang reliability yung exam. So, dapat, same question, same set of question. Mabago man, hindi masyadong malaking agwat. Example, pwedeng nakuha niya ngayon 85, tapos kinabukasan, nagkakuha siya ng 84 or 86, o reliable, kasi hindi masyadong malaking diferensya. Ang pangit, 85 ngayon, tapos kinabukasan, 55 nakuha niya, bagsak. So, hindi reliable. Okay, so, ito naman yung sa pagdating sa fairness and transparency in assessment. So, pag bottom line, mga teachers, no, kaya mga future teachers, bottom line, dapat valid and reliable exam. Yung word na validity and reliability, board exam question yan. No? Lumalabas sa board exam yan. Multiple choice. Anong sagot? Reliability, validity, transparency, or fairness. Yan. Kasi, parang ko nasabi, marami nakikita sa mga review materials yung validity and reliability, no? Kasi nawawala sa mga board exam materials. Fairness, assessment must provide equal opportunity for all our students. Ibig sabihin, yung assessment daw natin should accurately reflect students' knowledge, skills, and performance na walang influensya ng gender, language, ability, disability. Fairness yan. Kasi minsan iba yung pinapa-exam natin sa mga ibang section. Section 1, iba yung exam. Section 2, iba naman yung exam. Kapag nakita mong isang estudyante, paborito mo, no? Tumutulong palagi sa'yo sa room, sa klase. Tumutulong pag-check sa'yo, di ba? Hilig mo sa exam, mas madali. Kasi online exam, mas madali. So, bias, no? So, that is not under the concept of fairness. Malalaman ka ng totoong skills, no? Pag madali ang pina-exam mo sa kanya. Pag babae lalaki, same set of exam. Language ability. Same set of examination. Ay sila ko dating sa Ama University. Ano siya? Blind. Totally blind. Umattend siya ng klase sa akin. Meron siyang guide palagi. Mas ginagamit niya yung kanyang laptop. Meron siyang immersive reader. Function yung kanyang laptop. Ibig sabihin, may speaker. Pag nag-type siya sa keyboard, lumalabas sa kanyang headset. Ayan. Wala ako na sa kanya. Walis ko lang special treatment sa kanya. Ang subject, accountancy. So, exam na para sa mga ibang students ko, same set of questions para din sa kanya. Be honest. Hindi mo pwede bigyan ng special treatment yun kasi tinanggap ng school Otherwise, hindi tanggap ng school dapat mga blind. Since tanggap siya, same methodology ang gagamitin sa kanya. Kasi wala may special class para sa kanila. Sinama siya sa mga regular students. But the good thing, naging cum laude siya. She's now in New Zealand yata. This student ko. Okay, dapat mayroon tayong transparency pagdating sa ating mga pag-assess, no? Ayan. So, dapat tayo, objective, walang subjective, walang favorite. Walang favoritism. Transparency naman, clear criteria ensure understanding for every learner. If the examination is multiple choice, objective type, so madaling checkan. Objective walang bias. Ang mahirap minsan checkan, yung mga subjective type. Example, essay. Essay type, subjective kasi it is based on your personal judgment. Now, para masama natin may transparency when it comes to checking ang essay type ng examination, ang unang ginagawa natin dyan, you should have a rubrics. Pag sinabing rubrics, yung mga criteria na hanapin mo doon sa essay ng isang estudyante. And to have transparency, yung mga criteria na yan, dapat ay binibigay natin sa mga estudyante bago mag-umpisa yung examination. Kasi may mga test paper natin, pag essay type, example, test 4, essay type, ilagay mo sa bandang taas yung criteria or the rubrics na gagamitin nyo. Example, sentence construction, grammar, content, examples, no? Para pag sila nagsusulat, alam nila yung hinahanap mo. At checkan mo pag sila natapos sa kanilang essay type. That is rubrics. Dapat nilang malaman. Bigyan mo sa kanila yan. Criteria. Para sa mga beauty pageant. At the start of the pageant, sinasabi lang ng judges sa mga criteria. Na doon mag-base yung scoring. Sa ating mga wisdom open communication, example, I have here example. This one is the rubrics. Example of rubrics na binibigay ko sa mga estudyante sa essay type exam. So, for example, you will be graded based on organization ng kanilang ideas, evidence and samples, grammar, mechanics, punctuations, and of course, yung paragraphing, if they have the opening and closing paragraph. And you have the grade. 4, 3, 1. Yan. Example, pag yung kanilang mga may introduction paragraph, in closing paragraph, complete. And you are compelled na tama naman introduction and a strong conclusion, to give them 4 points. Yung mga essay na walang intro, walang conclusion, o meron man is very weak or very weak conclusion, or just give them 1 point. Kapag binigay mo sa mga estudyante mo to, alam nila kung saan sila ginigrade. Para you can avoid yung mga estudyante nagsusulat ng isang paragraph lang. And you can avoid those students na hindi nagsusulat ng essay. Na makita na dito, no? Example, 16 points. 16 points mawawala sa kanila. Alright, so that is sample of rubrics. So we have different types of rubrics na pwede nang gamitin. This one is specific only for essay type. May mga rubrics, for example, sa mga performance tasks like sa mga accounting record, no? Pag-record ng mga transactions and accounting subjects. Marami namang rubrics sa internet. Okay, so understanding the key rules, assessment, learners actively engage in assessment. So you can assess kung wala kang i-assess. Kung tamad naman magsulat ng estudyante sa Mogot, wala kang assessment dyan. Kaya minsan nakaka-dismay yung disappointing yung mga estudyanteng walang sagot. Dapat the instructions are very clear at the start of the lesson. Mga sumasagot na example, true or false. No? Write the word true and write the word false. May sumasagot, letter T, letter F. So, dapat, hindi lang sila masagot. They should understand instruction. Kasi nga, reading and understanding the instructions are part of the learning process. Educators design and implement assessment. So, based sa Siyempre, di ba? If you are writing the examination based on the syllabus, kung mayroong syllabus, the next thing to be done, gagawa ka ng table with specifications. Sabi ng table with specs, lahat ng skills na i-measure mo sa kanila, example, remembering, application, evaluating, memorizing, yun, dapat na yan kasama sa exam. A certain example, 10% for remembering, 20% for application, another 20 for evaluation. Yan. Evaluation and creating skills sa mga estudyante. So, dapat naka-design ganon yung mga exam natin, not only one type of exam, para na-measure natin lahat. Actually, that is for cognitive, no? Pero actually, pag tayo nagtuturo, hindi lang dapat sila ay cognitively magaling. They should also be good in emotional quotient, intelligence, and social. At talagang holistic yung mga estudyante. Parang sa BMC, no? Ang ating mission vision ay developing students that are not only good in intelligence quotient, but yung kanilang EQ should also be high. The emotional quotient should also be measured. Kasi di ba, magaling sa exam. Mahina naman makisama sa mga peers, na puro aral. Pagdating sa bahay naman, iba yung ugali. Hindi holistic. Of course, the students, the educators cannot do all of these things kung walang proper support ng administrators. Example, we want to have a good syllabus. Wala na mga books na pwedeng gamitin sa library kasi hindi binabudgetan, di ba? Or we want to be good in creating exams, or we want to be good in creating the TOS or table with specifications. Wala namang pa-seminar administration na libre. Wala silang mga train na binibigay. Dapat kasama admin dyan. The school should support assessment logistics. Example, ikaw pa nagpapasero sa mga mga test paper mo, dapat may support, di ba? May support lahat dapat ng tulad sa BMC, supported talaga lahat pag mga exam, talagang they provide the photocopying service para sa mga faculty. Kasi pag wala nga talagang tulong, di ba? Hindi ka naman papasero. Isang page ng papasero, kasi mahal ang magpa-print. Okay, so collaborative efforts between the students, faculty, and administrators. Enhance educational outcomes through teamwork, communication, effective communication among stakeholders, the students, supportive environment of the school, the management, para tayo aligned in our objectives. Being educational experience for the learners. Sarap pagturo pag may PowerPoint, no? Pamala pag yung school, hindi na po provide ng PowerPoint. Pubuti sa atin, sa mga rooms, may mga television, may mga TV. May mga schools ako, without mentioning, may mga schools ako walang TV. So we bring our own projector. Siyempre sa online kasi, mga magandang materials na pwede natin gamitin online, interesting. Like example, Kahoot. Paano magagamit yung Kahoot kung walang television sa room? Wala namang mga projector. Maganda sana maraming mga interactive games ngayon na pwedeng gamitin sa mga learners natin. Pag walang equipment, ikaw pa magdadala. So parang yung gusto mong type of exam na will be enjoyed by the students, yung magagawa. So, pag nagpa-meeting, you brought up those agenda. Clearly define rules and share responsibilities among educators, and we mentioned this one. Accountable yung prof, yung teacher, no? Pag yung outcomes yung assessment ay hindi masyadong maganda, so kulang pa. Kaya yung outcome ang iyong i-improve. Baka naman masyadong mataas ang outcome na expected mo, hindi talaga maabot. Let's either revise the outcome or revise the methodology of assessment. Principle or quality assessment. Ayun, nabanggit natin ka ng mga validity, di ba? Dapat yan. Yung mini-measure mong skills, dapat yun ang exam, yung nilang type, yung pinapa-exam sa kanila. Measure reliability, any types of exams, same questions, and be answered consistently ng mga estudyante natin. So, meron dapat consistency in the result of the examination. Fairness, equal opportunity provided for all participants. So, one examination for all. May mga student ako sa Ama University, from Solomon Islands. I-compare naman sa atin Solomon Islands, hindi pa ganun kaganda yung educational system. Ang pa-exam ko, Filipino students or Solomon Islands sila o taga Papua New Guinea, same set of exams. Binibigay ko sa kanila. And transparency, clear criteria and processes for assessment. They should know the criteria or the rubrics. They should know in what area they should be measured or assessed ng kanilang mga teachers or mga prof. Ayun, mga principles natin in quality. 4 na. Palalabas sa board examination yan, ha? Take it from me. Board exam question to. Yung 4 na yan. Kasi sabi ko kanina na ang mga lessons ko ay inject some board exam questions based sa aking mga review materials. By the way, mga humingi ng mga ng review materials, ibibigay ko pala siya pag tayo ay patapos na. Example, we are now on our 10th week. Ibibigay ko na yung aking review materials. Hindi pala muna ngayon kasi nga pag nagbigay ko ngayon tapos hindi ka naman talaga pala magtutuloy sa TCP o hindi ka naman talaga magtitake ng board exam o di sayang lang yung review materials mo, di ba? So dapat yung sure ball ka na tuloy ka sa TCP kasi some of you here at the middle of bisa previous batch marami kong sila nag-drop ng previous batch ng TCP. Karakitaan, nag-drop sila. So, gusto ko yung talagang tutuloy kayo. Tuloy-tuloy yung pag-take ng board exam. Para hindi sayang yung review materials na kayo provide. Okay, so let's move on sa next slide natin. Flexibility. Adapting assessment methods ensures all learners' deserved needs are met effectively. Ito yung you should adapt your methods of assessment. Yung kanyang timing, yung kanyang format. Kasi di ba sabi ko kanina, I studied with Howard Gardner. Yung si Howard Gardner, yung theory, the theory of multiple intelligence. Iba yung estudyante, iba-iba yung bisyo. Iba-iba yung kanilang gusto or hilig. Yung mahilig sa math, physical, visual, yan, auditory. Yung may mga estudyanteng magaling makinig na yung nakikinig lang sila, they can absorb the lesson by just listening. May mga estudyante namang absorb yung lesson by reading. Visual and auditory, yan, mga estudyanteng ganun. Magaling magbasa, magaling makinig. So, to accommodate the different learning styles nila, yung mga needs, yung ating mga assessment should be accommodating. Ang format ba? You can have quizzes, di ba? Kaya may magaling sa essay, may magaling naman sa multiple choice, may magaling gawa ng portfolio, gumawa ng projects, may magaling magdrama, May mga estudyante akong tahimik. Pero pagdating sa pag pinadramatize ko yung isang situation sa kanila, magaling pala sa drama, no? magaling umarte. Yan. Tahimik pero magaling palang kumanta. May mga musical na mga estudyanteng ganun eh. Yung mga flexibility. Flexible na flexible tayo dapat. Yung authenticity naman, authentic dapat. Ang ating mga ginagawa exam, bigyan mo sila ng real world task in assessing. Pag sila ay magbilang assignment talagang pag ako na nagbibigay ng assignment example, the subject is entrepreneurship. And I want hindi lang puro research, no? Hindi ako puro para research sa online eh. Ang ginagawa ko minsan, you look for those actual entrepreneurs sa inyong mga lugar. Example, may-ari ng tindahan, may-ari ng karinderya, yun ang ini-interviewin. Hindi puro research sa internet. Example, I want them to know yung mga pagdating pagdating sa marketing strategy, pagdating sa inventory strategy. Of course, sana yan, nasa online sources yan. No? But if you want them to have real world task, authentic talaga yung kailang pinapagawa mo sa kanila, umaga na kayo, you will have some field work time as part of your activity. Interview, they go to the malls, di ba? They want, example, gusto malaman yung pagkanong renta sa mga pwesto, sa mga malls ngayon. Of course, nasa website, sources. But maganda yung talaga authentic. Punta kayo sa mga malls at magtanong kayo actual sa mga may-ari ng mga stalls or shops. Para authentic, di ba? Real world ng assessment sa kanila. Flexibility and assessment, individualized approaches. Recognizing the unique strengths and challenges of each learners allows for tailored assessment strategies. Ensuring equitable. Kaya meron tayong mga tinatawag na pwedeng sa estudyante, iba yung kanilang exam, di ba? Kaya meron tayong tinatawag na mga consultation hours para malaman natin yung mga challenges na kanilang mga pinagdadaanan. Varied assessment methods, utilizing a mix of assessment types from projects to presentations. Kaya pag nagpapa-report ako, hindi palaging in-class reporting na aking pinapagawa. Sometimes I require them to shoot a video in a talk show format para matest natin yung kanilang, kasi may mga estudyante na nahihiya mag-report sa gitna ng klase. Pero pag pinag-record mo ang talk show format, tapos ginawa mo siyang host ng talk show event na yun, kita mo magaling pala tumagsalita. At at-press mo rin dyan, gusto nila yung nag-record ng video kasi lumalabas yung kanilang mga creativity in editing video, in presenting video. Gamit yung mga Canva, video editor like CapCut. Gamit nila kasi gusto nag-edit ng mga video. Alam mo mga estudyante ngayon, di ba? Dahil sila magaling sa mga tools, mga apps na ginagamit. Kaya pag nagpa-activity kayo, huwag palaging narrative paragraph. Pa-shoot mo sila ng video. Dami nagsasubmit ng pag video ang activity mo, ang daming dami nagsasubmit. Important, sila nagpapa-assess just for the sake of the grade. Although talagang time consuming na lahat ay but sometimes I take time, I take time talaga to read yung mga submission online. Example, we are using MS Team and using Google Classroom. Submission, binabasa ko talaga yun, I give feedback. Hindi masyadong mahaba. Yung mga sometimes errors lang binibigay sa kanila para malaman talaga nilang binabasa mo yung mga submission sa kanila. And example dito sa BNC na meron tayong after a major exam, ang next meeting dyan, consultation. That is the time that you give feedback to mga estudyante about their performance. exam. Parang teacher ka rin ng mga exam, college din, pag in-assess ng mga estudyante college din, yung pag in-assess mo estudyante yung teacher, hindi nagbibigay ng feedback sa isang prof about the result of the evaluation. Of course, the reason for feedbacking is for improvement ng mga learners natin. Okay, let's have this one. Ensuring real-world relevance in evaluation, real-world task, and sabi ko kanina, we don't confine the learnings inside the classroom. Palabasin mo sila. Kasi meron tayong field trip. The educational tour is not only for the sake of going outside, no? You should be learning outside. Kapag nagpa-educational tour yung school, after that, I require them to shoot a video and assess and narrate in the video ano yung kanilang natutunan in relation doon sa subject na hawak ko sa kanila. Subject ko, most of the time, business or marketing. Narrate, no? Paano yung kanilang establishment or yung resort na kanilang pinuntahan o yung hotel na kanilang pinuntahan, how do they promote, maintain customer service, for example. Yan, through video na naman. Sabi ko, magaling siya mag-video eh. And the students should be engaged. Assessment is designed with authenticity in mind to promote greater student engagement. And see the value of their work reflected in practical contexts and real-life scenarios. Kaya minsan meron tayong essay type, yung kanilang practical experience o insight, doon nila nilalagay. Hindi sila pwede mag-browse online dyan, no? Kasi yung personal ang hinahanap sa kanila eh. Kaya meron tayong mga essay type na mga Diyan minsan yung pamasong yung engagement students sa mga essay type. Kasi diyan nung pinaka-outlet nila about something. Susulat nila doon sa essay. Skills applications, meron tayong tinatawag na the Bloom's Taxonomy. In-measure natin sa Bloom's Taxonomy. Different types of skills. Pag ikaw ay prof na, malalaman mo yung mga levels of levels. Siyempre, iba dito, some of you here are in the educational field na, no? I know yung Bloom's taxonomy, di ba, na measure natin sa ating mga estudyante. Di ba, example, pag nagpa-exam ka, yung 6 na levels ng skills dapat measure natin sa kanila, no? Example, pinakaunang skills, no? Pinakamababang klase ng skills na meron sila yung remembering. Pag-memorize lang to eh. Next, understanding. Tapos yung application, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Ang pinakamababang skills na meron sila, yung remembering. Kasi nagme-memorize lang sila dito eh. But you should also measure the highest form of skills, and that is the creating. The highest form is creating. Yung 6 na yan, pag-exam ka dapat, kasama sa exam. Hindi pwede mag-exam na puro enumeration. Kaya meron tayong multiple choice. Kasi ang multiple choice is not only remembering. Multiple choice is also understanding, analyzing, and evaluating. Kaya ang multiple choice, marami siyang gamit. Okay, so we're down to the last few slides natin. So, privacy protection din. Pag nagpa-exam tayo, privacy. Assessment must ensure the privacy of the learners. Pero ako, nagre-request ng mga result ng kanilang exam, example, prelim exam. Imagine mo naman guys, no? Ang estudyante is 67. May klase ako, taxation, ang laman 80+. Pero hindi naman lahat ay papasok. Diba nun, drop na eh. Pero sabihin mo natin, mga 70+ pa rin yan, no? Mga estudyante. Pag yan sir, pwede mo malaman result ng exam. Pag binayos mo sa isa-isa yung kanilang result, time consuming for you. Ginagawa ko, pinopost ko lang sa aming group chat. Para student number lang nilalagay ko. Hindi ko rin ang pangalan. Para isahan na lang, para wala masyado magtatanong. May privacy pa rin, di ba? Hindi pag marami sila. Pero pag kunti lang naman, hindi binibigay siya ng result ng exam individually. Pag marami, student number, opposite, their grade, the exam. Every learner deserve the fair treatment during assessment. Saan gawin nyo guys na? Example, kasi ngayon online kasi ngayon, di ba? Online ang ginagamit ngayon. May pangalan dapat lagi yung kanilang online form. Pero pag face-to-face, ang ginagamit nila booklet. Sa BMC booklet, ginagamit natin pag face-to-face tayo. They will buy booklets from the school. Tapos kung sila sasagot. Kapag checking na, so maraming booklet, di ba? Mga 50 booklets yan eh. Ang unang ginagawa, tinutupi ko yung front page ng booklet kasi nandun doon yung kanilang pangalan. Pag nag-check ako, hindi ko dapat makita yung pangalan ng mga estudyante. Kasi nga, pagdating sa essay type, subjective. Pag enumeration, multiple choice, okay lang eh. Kasi, yan talagang answer key. Pero pag subjective type, exam, judgment. Pag nakita mo yung pangalan si Diana, itong si Diana, itong mabait na, palagi kong tumutulong na, palagi nag-good morning sa akin. Sometimes you can't avoid being biased. So, para to avoid those things, dapat hindi mo makita yung pangalan mo si Diana ng booklet, sa kanilang booklet. Pag ikaw nag-checking na. Dignity preservation, hindi mo, last time sa university ko, midterm exam. Maraming mababa. Ang ginagamit namin doon, zero-based. Pag sinabing zero-based, mataas yung criteria sa grading system. Example, pag 15 yan, pag 10 ang tamang sagot, mabagsak na yun. Kasi 64.5, no? Ang passing. Dami mo mabagsak. Kaya mababa sila. Hindi ko sinasabing ang baba ng grade mo, hindi ko sinasabing gano'n. Kasi meron pa rin siyang dignity, no? Ang dialogue ko dyan, ito, mababa exam na sa midterm exam, but don't worry, meron pa tayong finals examination. Ang gagawin mo, gagaling mo na sa finals para ma-recover mo yung mababang grade mo sa midterm. Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin, ang baba mo, babagsak ka na kasi ang baba mo ng midterm. Meron pa rin dignity. Parang binuboost mo pa rin yung kanilang moral kahit mababa ka ng midterm exam. That is not yet the end of the world kasi meron pa ang finals. Galing mo sa finals ha. Ginasabi kong ganun eh. Galing mo sa finals ha. Kaya pa yan. Mayroon pa rin pag-asa. O diba, I would say, medyo na ng dignity na boost. Hindi na pahiya. Ayan. Pero sa university, no? Sa presidente presidente ng association. Pinost ko yung result ng exam. Mababa yung nakuha exam. Isa siguro, org president ako, tapos mababa exam. Nag-heads up sa akin, siya. Tara, hindi mo naman niligay yung nilabas yung result ng exam, ang baba ako eh. Ang reason niya, president daw kasi siya. Anyway. So ito yung mga types ng mga online assessment na aking ginagamit. Example, sabi kanina, hindi puro pen and paper exam. Kaya meron kang, pag may equipment, may television, may projector, may laptop, you can have these different types of assessment, like Kahoot, Padlet, Family Feud, mga interactive games na eh. May exam dito if you want to test your English pronunciation, language. May mga multiple choice na exam na i-scan mo na lang eh. Pero multiple choice lang kasi dapat kaya nun. Anyway, yan ang mga types ng online assessment tools. And I know this is the last slide for today. Hoping that you guys got something from my presentation. And so, I'm going to give the assessment. Pag ano kasi, what they call this one? Pag asynchronous, after a lecture, nagbibigay ng online quiz. So, I will be giving the first online quiz inyo. Based dito sa lesson. So, normally, I give that on the weekend para hindi masyadong maistorbo. Kasi pag weekdays, I know you are working. I don't give the assessment quizzes pag weekdays. Bukas ng gabi, bigay ko yan. Okay, so don't forget to subscribe to my Monting channel. And hoping that you will watch and digest the presentation today. Thank you guys. This has been Dr. Gordon signing off. Thank you for dropping by and watching my video. See you around, people.